In the connected world we live in, it becomes harder and harder to remain anonymous. When we connect to the internet to browse a website, send an email, or use another service, our identity and online activity could be tracked by governments and private companies mainly to serve us targeted ads. I think that anyone has searched on Google at least once for something ordinary like sport shoes and was later bombed by tens of related ads on third-party websites. There is nothing wrong with being anonymous and controlling your own personal privacy if you are doing a legitimate business. In this lecture, we'll discuss how online tracking really works. But what is actually web tracking? It's the practice by which websites identify and collect information about users. Without tracking, e-commerce and advertising businesses would treat every user as a stranger and would be unable to show him personalized content. Whenever you use the internet, you leave a record of the websites you have visited, along with each and everything you've clicked. To track this information, many websites save a small piece of data, embed invisible objects, or use your user accounts and hardware configuration to uniquely identify you. Say, for example, you visit a website and read a review about a pair of shoes you'd like to buy. The website you visit knows what you are interested in, shoes in this case, and is referred to as a first party. At this moment, you won't find anything strange, as you don't actually care that the website knows you are interested in shoes, because you are the person who willingly visited the website and clicked on the link of the review page. But what happens next is troublesome. The website you are visiting has embedded a third-party tracker like adroll.com or doubleclick.com that logs all the information about you and your visit as well. So a third-party tracker is an entity other than the website directly visited by the user that tracks the user's visit to the website. Using sophisticated techniques and by collecting and correlating your data on different occasions in the past, a tracker could uniquely identify you and know everything about you, such as your age, your gender, your location or address, your income, your medical status, your habits, your favorite websites, and so on. So just imagine that you are reading a review about a pair of shoes you want to buy on a random website, and that website already knows everything about you, just like your best friend or your spouse. Maybe you think that web tracking is anonymous, since only habits are connected, not your real identity like your name, address, or government ID. But when a website like Facebook acts as a third-party tracker, then your identity is exposed, since you've created a Facebook account and you are logged in, or even if you aren't logged in. This is really creepy. Let's see what are the tracking mechanisms. The most commonly used ways to track a user are by using cookies, browser fingerprinting, and invisible pixels or beacons. Let's take them one by one. A cookie is a small text file saved locally on your machine in your browser storage by a web server. When you visit a website for the first time, a cookie file with a unique identifier is stored on your computer. Subsequently, when you revisit the website, the web server will read the cookie to find your unique ID so that it can uniquely identify you. And then it will retrieve all information about you from its database. Modern websites used cookies for two main purposes: keeping you logged in and tracking your behavior. I'm sure you've noticed that websites like google.com or facebook.com do not require you to log in each time you visit the website, and that's because your details will be remembered by the browser through a cookie stored during your first login. If you want to view the cookies saved in your browser, it depends on your browser. You use button Chrome, go to Chrome menu in the top right corner, select Settings, and under Privacy and Security, click on Site Settings. And then click on Cookies and Site Data. Here, you can block all third-party cookies or view all cookies that were saved in your browser. Let's see all cookies and site data. These are all cookies saved in my browser. On this page, you can also remove one or all cookies. Another technique used for tracking is called browser fingerprinting. This is another incredibly accurate method of identifying users uniquely and tracking their online activity. When you connect to the internet, your device will hand over a bunch of specific data to the receiving server, which includes the browser type and version, operating system and version, screen resolution, supported fonts, plugins, time zone, language, and font preferences, and even hardware configurations. These data points might seem generic at first and don't necessarily look tailored to identify one specific person. However, there's a significantly small chance for another user to have 100 matching browser information. A service called Panopticlick found that only one in almost 286,000 other browsers will share the same fingerprint as another user. Take a look at this paper if you want to go deeper into it. You'll also find it as an attachment to this lecture. The uniqueness of browser information is closely related to the investigation method of the police, who identifies suspects and criminals based on fingerprints at the crime scene. Browser fingerprinting works the same. Websites collect a large set of data from visitors in order to later use it to match against browser fingerprints of known users. Or, in other words, they will try to uniquely identify you using this generic information your browser will hand over to the server. You can test if your browser is safe against tracking at this address. Let's test the latest version of Chrome on Windows 10. It's testing my browser. And the results don't look so good. We see that it doesn't protect us too much against tracking. From my tests with all known browsers, I've noticed that the Brave browser offers the best tracking protection using the default settings. This is the Brave browser. Let's test it. And it looks much better compared to Chrome. This is Brave and this is Chrome. And the last common way to track users is by using a so-called tracking pixel or web beacon. This is an invisible object embedded in a web page or an email, most of the time as a transparent image with the size of 1 pixel that is loaded by the browser when a web page is loaded or a link in the email clicked. This way, they know that their advertisement email has just been opened or their web page visited. This is, by the way, another reason why you should not display images in the emails received from senders you do not trust. Because it is so small, the tracking pixel can hardly be seen by visitors of a website or email recipients. When connecting to the server to download the tracking pixel, some JavaScript code is run on the client and tracking information like operating system, screen resolution, the IP address, activities on the website during the session are acquired. Okay, These were the most common tracking mechanisms. In the next lecture, we'll see how to protect us against tracking.